They find you. Like a moth finds light. At first, it feels magnetic, almost spiritual. You meet them and something inside you says, finally. Someone who sees me. But what you don't realize, is that what they see isn't you. It's your light. Your empathy. Your capacity to feel what they can't. Narcissists are drawn to empaths because, deep down, they are empty, and you are full. You have something they've spent their entire lives disconnected from: warmth, compassion, emotional depth. You see people, not as they pretend to be, but as who they could become. And that's exactly what makes you their perfect supply. See, the narcissist doesn't love your light. They crave it. They feed off it. They mirror it, until you start believing they're just like you. That's how it begins, the illusion of connection. They study you, your values, your fears, your language of love. They shapeshift into everything you've ever wanted. And because you're genuine, you assume they are too. So you open up. You give. You trust. You explain yourself to be understood. You try harder to fix what shouldn't be broken. But what they're really doing is studying how to use your empathy against you. The empath believes love heals. The narcissist believes love controls. So while you're trying to connect, they're trying to consume. You think your love will reach the part of them that's hurting. But to them, your compassion is a resource, not a refuge. They don't want healing. They want fuel. And your empathy, your ability to understand and forgive, becomes their greatest weapon. This is why empaths stay so long. You see the wounded child inside them. You think if you love them right, they'll finally feel safe enough to change. But what you're really loving is a projection. A version of them that only exists in your heart. They mirror your light until you forget your own reflection. And when they pull away, you start to believe you did something wrong. You didn't. You were simply being who you are, someone capable of deep connection. But they only ever saw that as power to control. So why are narcissists drawn to empaths? Because empaths are everything they are not. You have emotional depth, they have emotional void. You self-reflect, they deflect. You feel guilt, they weaponize it. You crave authenticity, they crave attention. They are attracted to your empathy the way a starving person is attracted to food, not out of appreciation, but survival. And here's the most painful part, they don't seek love. They seek reflection. You reflect back to them what they wish they were: kind, loving, whole. But when your humanity reminds them of their emptiness, they punish you for it. That's when the cycle begins: idealize, devalue, discard. Repeat. Every time you shine, they dim you. Every time you forgive, they test how far your empathy will stretch. And every time you stay, they lose more respect for you, because they mistake compassion for weakness. But empathy is not weakness. It's strength, the kind that can rebuild a soul. Just not theirs. You can't heal someone who uses your love as a weapon. You can't pour into a void that refuses to be filled. And maybe that's the real lesson: it's not your job to teach a narcissist what love feels like. It's your job to remember what it feels like for you. So how do you protect your empathy without dimming your light? You start by seeing your kindness as sacred, not negotiable. You stop trying to earn peace from people who thrive on chaos. You learn to notice the energy shift, when giving starts to drain instead of fulfill. You learn to pause before explaining yourself. And you practice letting silence do what words can't. Empathy becomes power when it's directed inward first. Because the truth is, your heart isn't meant to fix broken people. It's meant to create connection with those who want to heal with you. When you stop chasing people who can't feel, you begin attracting those who can. When you stop explaining your worth, you start living it. And when you finally stop mistaking intensity for intimacy, you start experiencing love without pain. That's when your empathy stops being their supply, and becomes your strength. You were never too much. You were just too real for someone who survives on illusions. And the moment you realize that, you stop being their mirror, and start becoming your own light. You are not crazy. You're an empath learning to protect your peace. And that is the beginning of your power. Subscribe, and let's keep unlearning the lies that made you doubt your light.